now that we've got all the lines tightened down and everything's like locked down in place, the next thing you want to do is depend on what method you're going to use to bleed your brakes. If you're going to use two people, one inside to pump the brakes and release each wheel cylinder, then you want to definitely take this out, and that way you don't lock up your system or have to reset your proportionate valve, and it just unscrews. And you're going to insert the tool, which is here, and that keeps the valve from shifting to whichever brake you're bleeding. So you just want to insert this tool. And just screw it down. And that's going to keep your valve inside from shifting. Like I said, whichever brake you're bleeding. So if you're bleeding the front and was pumping the brakes, it will actually shift and lock up. So that's what this tool is for. Now, the way I'm going to be bleeding my brakes, I'm going to use the air pressure to open up each wheel cylinder, use air to suck fluid from the master cylinder all the way down to the side. Then we'll come back and pump the brakes. But for now, since I've replaced all the lines, I'm going to use the air system to just suck the fluid all the way down to each wheel cylinder. So I'll show you that system. So now we're ready for the next phase, and the next phase will be to bleed the brakes. And I'm going to be using a brake bleeder kit. So it comes with your reservoir for your new brake fluid, and it hangs over the master cylinder. This is your extractor along with the tank that will be extracting the old brake fluid, and this would be the connector that will go to the wheel cylinders, and it comes with different size connectors depending on what size you're using, and it comes with a quick disconnect, and the way it works is just for here, and also comes with for removing your old brake fluid from your master cylinder. Comes with the line for that also. So let's get everything set up and we'll go from there. Here's the setup. If you can see, got the line hooked to the wheel cylinder bleeder valve there, and it runs down into our tank with our air line, and then around the front you can see we got the master cylinder filled with brake fluid, and I've got the reservoir attached just in case, but we'll stop it every now and then and check to make sure. So that's the setup. So we're on the verge of almost having brakes back on the front tire. Once we're spinning and it hits the brakes, it's locking up pretty good. Let's go to the other side. And on this one, once we get to turning, hit it, it's dragging a little slower. So we'll need to take this one off and adjust the brakes on this one. Let's go to, this tire is still kind of on the ground, but I can turn it when it hits the brakes. And on this one, all right, hit it. It's locking up pretty good. May need to do a little adjustment, we'll see. And on the final rear tire, we can get this one in the air. All right, hit it. And possibly adjust that one, but we're getting close. So I'm gonna bleed them one more time, and then push come to shove, take off the front two and adjust the brake pads on those, and then see what I got from there. So stay tuned. Got everything bled and tight. So we're gonna do a brake check just to make sure, see how it's running. And that's my son in the truck who never drove a stick before, and definitely not a dump truck. So brakes good. Alright, gonna do another brake test. Just don't hit my trailer. And like I said, he never drove a stick before, so he's trying to learn. More gas. Just checking the brakes to make sure, and just showing you the pedal. That's basically the pedal, and it's real sensitive, so the brakes and everything does work. So just a touch of the brakes and it's locking up. So everything works, got everything tightened down. I'm gonna go do a road test and how we work from there. But that's your brakes. this is the completed brake job, and this is the unit that I used, and took the paint and color off of it, the gold off of it, to make it, give it an old look. So same brake booster, same master cylinder, just working on kind of making it look older instead of shiny bright gold under here. So that's what I'm doing there. So that's why it looks like that. But you can see in the back it's the same gold, and I'll work on that also. But anyway, got everything working, got everything bled, and this is the C50. And the proportioning valve, what I did is, of course, this is the front, so change that because this master cylinder, the larger reservoir is in the front, so that's why I switched those and crossed them. So that goes to the back. My residual valves are here. You don't really need these, but I do recommend them. Like I said, the older trucks, like I said, we want as much stopping power as possible. So that does, these are 20 psi. So that gives you a little more stopping power with the 2 wheel cylinders in the back. And that is my front one. So underneath we ran lines, so that's that. And then underneath where we split it, I think I've already showed you, but this is coming from the front, and that's where it comes from, the front, and runs to the back. And we ran new lines in here into that wheel cylinder, and then back up to the top. I'll go around the back side and show you. But putting in new line from there to that wheel cylinder, and then ran a new one up to the top wheel cylinder. This one stayed the same. Put a new one, the one that runs across is the same. Put in a new line from the bottom wheel cylinder to the top. And at the front, is right here where the splitter is. So that's why I split it to go to the 2 front. So it comes down, splits there. That one that goes through the frame runs to the right, and then the other one runs across and through that frame, then feeds that one there. So that's the separation of the lines. So it's pretty simple. It stops good, has good braking power. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and hit the notification for upcoming videos. And if you got any questions about adding a firewall brake booster to a C50, Chevy C50 dump truck, this is a 1970 model, and this is a C50. So like I said, putting the brake booster on the firewall. Now I did leave the old one under there, which you can see is there. So that's there. The reason I left it, it has the vacuum lines that run the rear end running into it, which I'll change eventually. But here you can see that's our vacuum line, but here that runs to your rear end.
So those vacuum lines run to the booster for the rear end, and that switches it. Well, it has a gear under the bottom, but that's your valve that's underneath. But that's the vacuum lines that run the rear end. So we tapped off of it, which you can see right here, and that gives us enough power for our brake booster. So don't forget to hit the comment section and let me know what you think. Talk to you later.